Hi, my name is Eric, and this is my presentation on angle of view. Angle of view is about moving around to photograph a scene or subject. Start shooting your subject from different points of view. Angle of view relates to where you capture an image from. The subject can be fixed or movable. Consider shooting from a variety of different positions relative to the subject. Also consider using different focal length, and by that I mean different millimeters of lens, so zooming in and zooming out basically. You'll notice here I have two photographs of the same church, one taken from very close with a ultra wide angle lens and one taken from much further back. The whole idea of angle of view is to move around and shoot a subject from different positions. One of the things you can try doing is to back up and zoom in, basically doing perspective change. I have a variety of videos that I've posted or will post soon, and you will find those will have lots and lots of different ideas about things you can do. One of them is on perspective change. By moving and changing focal length, you can significantly alter relationships between foreground and background. Using telephoto lenses is another great way to photograph a subject. Long lenses, or long focal lengths, give a narrow field of view, not only for the foreground, but also for the background. This means that a small change in position for your part can produce an enormous change in the background when using long lenses. The longer the lens, the greater the background effect. So this is a good example. This was a tiger lily I found and I photographed it. And all I did was to move literally a foot to my left and or my right. And in doing so, I was getting different backgrounds. The subject is pretty much the same, shot from a slightly different angle. But you can see how the background changes significantly. And it's that whole idea that makes telephoto lenses very, very unique in photographing things. How about a vertical change in position? Will that improve the shot? This was a really neat grain bale device that I found on the prairies, and I shot it from ground height, and then I got on top of my car and shot it again. And you can see it's quite a difference. Sometimes moving to a more vertical position will give you a much better photograph. Always, always, always pay attention to your background. Most people, when they are photographing, it's all about the subject, but they don't pay attention to what's going on in the background. Wherever you are, always look to make sure the background is what you want in the shot. Your subject may not be movable. If you can change your subject's location, consider doing so to take advantage of the desired environment or light conditions. Often a subject cannot be moved. Consider taking time to view the subject relative to its environment. Ask yourself, where can you shoot from to capture the subject's best angle? One of the things to think about is light. Does backing up and zooming in, or the reverse, improve the shot? Can you shoot from a higher or lower point of view? Always pay attention to the background relative to the foreground. When you do find an interesting subject, consider shooting it from a number of vantage points. So this, for example, is a trestle that's on Vancouver Island that I explored, and my goal was not to have a photograph of the trestle, but rather to photograph it in a variety of ways and make them interesting and appealing. And of the photographs I took, I was going to find some of them more desirable than others. So these are some of the photographs I took. It involved exploring the bridge and looking at it. And of those, I found that a couple were preferable. Whenever you do this, you're always going to have a couple of shots that turn out better than the other ones. What you need to do then is to stop and ask yourself why. Why are these shots better than the other ones? That's one of the ways you can improve your photography. This was another situation. This was a dilapidated wreck of a boat that I found. It's been there for years, but it's a really interesting piece to look at. And again, I photographed it from a number of points of view. The idea being that one of them is going to be better than the others. This is Pogo. This is this is the mythical beast that lives in the Okanagan Lakes. And same thing, I photographed it from a number of perspectives, zooming in, zooming out, getting close, getting far away, and even involving some of the locals. This is another series of shots, same idea. Taking time to explore, to look, how can I shoot this? What sorts of things can I do to improve the photograph? And by taking the time to do that, you're going to find new ways to do things. Another cool thing that I like to do when I'm out and about is sometimes I'll find a really neat subject that is movable. Now, whenever you're doing this, it's always a good idea to get permission first. Make sure this is not something that you're going to move that's going to cause grief. And when you do this, put it back where you got it from. It's always a thoughtful thing. If you can move the subject around, and you're allowed to do that, it's really neat how you can move it from place to place and shoot it in different positions. Sometimes things are not so movable. It doesn't mean that you can't shoot them, it just means you have to find a way around. So take a look at this shot and this shot, and I want you to notice the two. I'm going to go back again. So this was shot from ground level, and I happen to have a ladder with me, which I set up. Sometimes I do that to get a higher position, and it made quite a big difference in the outcome of the scene. Moving around facilitates creativity and lets you try new methods which you otherwise may not have thought of. Thanks for watching. I appreciate that. Take a look at some of my other presentations. I've got quite a few, and I'm planning on making more. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch.